This morning, the coronavirus pandemic has left at least 1,500 public school students, staff, and teachers quarantined in at least 8 states. In a new report, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends masks for all kids 2 and older at school and in public spaces. It also warns that asymptomatic children who test positive should be isolated for up to 14 days to avoid spreading the virus. Our lead national correspondent, David Begnaud, is in Miami Beach. David, good morning.
Anthony, good morning. Nearly all of the school districts here in the state of Florida are being ordered by state leaders to offer some kind of in-person learning. Meanwhile, the state's largest teachers union is suing over that, saying it's not a good idea because the virus is simply too widespread in this state that continues to be a hotspot for the country. Meanwhile, parents at this very moment are trying to make what they think is the best decision for their kid about whether they should actually go into the classroom.
I'm semi-nervous, but I feel like the school's going to do everything to keep the kids safe.
This is Rebecca Evans. She says she's comfortable that her 14-year-old daughter will start classes at Palmetto High School near Sarasota, Florida on Monday. That's even though some staff members are already in quarantine because there's already been a positive COVID-19 case on campus. It happened while teachers were there getting ready for the start of the year.
So you think she is making the right decision?
I feel like we need a little bit of normalcy. She needs that, and she made the decision, and hopefully it's the right one.
But as the state moves ahead with in-person learning, some educators are worried that things are moving a little too fast. Educators like Catalina Bested. She's a Spanish teacher at Tampa Bay Technical High School. She is also a coronavirus survivor.
I literally felt myself knocking on death's doorway. I cannot imagine a lot of my older coworkers possibly even surviving this.
In 34 states and Puerto Rico, the percent of coronavirus tests coming back positive is still higher than the recommended level for reopening.
We have a lot of infection going on. Do you really want to put the kids back in school?
In an interview Thursday, Dr. Anthony Fauci gave a blunt assessment of our nation's coronavirus response.
Bottom line is, I'm not pleased with how things are going.
As the pandemic moves across the country out of control, it continues to tear apart families like Charlie Vallejo's.
Never in my wildest dreams would I ever have thought that my grandfather would have passed from COVID, let alone my father. I mean,
Charlie's father and grandfather, Doctors Carlos and George Vallejo, were both hospitalized with coronavirus on Father's Day. They died just weeks apart. Both men were respected community leaders in the Hialeah neighborhood, a suburb of Miami. 89-year-old George was long retired, but 57-year-old Carlos was treating COVID patients right before he contracted the virus. Charlie says they leave behind a legacy of helping others.
They were my inspiration for studying medicine. My father was and is my hero. He died on the front lines doing what he believed was right.
The Vallejos are a family of doctors. There are 20 of them that either practice some type of medicine, dentistry, or psychiatry. One Vallejo who doesn't is actually a reporter. She works with us here at the CBS station in Miami. Her name is Jessica Vallejo. Our sincerest condolences to the family. Vlad, one more thing before we go. Since the pandemic started, estimates are at least 1,000 frontline healthcare workers have died because of COVID-19.
David, that is a stunning statistic. Thank you so much for your reporting. We really appreciate it.